forces that bind them to the wheel of existence and attain a state of perfect peace, wisdom, and the end of all suffering. Christianity presents a powerful vision of resurrection, centered on the figure of Jesus Christ. For Christians, the resurrection of Jesus from the dead is not just a historical event. It is the cornerstone of their faith and the ultimate promise for all believers. The core belief is that humans are a unified whole of body and soul, and death is an unnatural separation of the two. Therefore, salvation is not complete until the body is also redeemed. The promise is that at the end of time, on the day of judgment, God will miraculously raise the dead, reuniting their souls with new glorified bodies that are immortal and free from decay and suffering. This future resurrection is seen as a participation in the victory of Christ over death. It is a singular event that marks the end of history as we know it. After being raised, each individual will face a final judgment based on their faith and the actions of their one life on earth. Those who are found righteous will enter into an eternal existence in the presence of God, in a renewed heaven and the earth often described as paradise. This belief emphasizes the goodness of the physical creation and the profound value of the individual person, body and soul, who is deemed worthy of being preserved and perfected for eternity, rather than being dissolved or recycled. Islam shares a similar and equally central belief in a final bodily resurrection on the Day of Judgment, known as Yawm al-Qiyamah. The Quran speaks vividly and repeatedly about this climactic event, which will be preceded by cosmic signs and the sounding of a great trumpet. At that moment, all of humanity, from the beginning of time to the end, will be brought back to life from their graves. They will be gathered together to stand before God or Allah, to have their deeds weighed on a divine scale. Every action, every intention, and every secret of the heart from their one earthly life will be made known and accounted for. Based on this judgment, each person will be assigned their eternal destiny. Those whose good deeds outweigh their bad will be granted entry into Jannah or paradise, which is described as a beautiful garden of eternal bliss and peace in the presence of God. Those whose evil deeds prevail will be sent to Jahannam or hell, a place of punishment and suffering. This powerful doctrine of resurrection and judgment underscores the moral accountability of each individual. It stresses that this single life is a test, a period of trial, and that ultimate justice will be perfectly and definitively served in the hereafter, ensuring that no good deed goes unrewarded and no evil act goes unpunished. The ideas of rebirth and resurrection offer profoundly different understandings of the self. In the framework of rebirth, particularly in Hinduism and Buddhism, the self is fluid and transient. In Hinduism, the true self, the Atman, is an eternal spark, but the personality, memories, and identity we associate with one lifetime are temporary masks that are cast off at death. In Buddhism, this idea is taken even further, with the self being seen as an illusion, a temporary bundle of processes. Who you are is not a fixed thing but a flowing river of consciousness. This perspective encourages detachment from the ego and the specific circumstances of one's current life, viewing them as just one chapter in a much larger book. In contrast, the doctrine of resurrection places immense value on the unique individual self. In Christianity and Islam, you are you, a specific and unrepeatable creation of God, consisting of both a body and a soul. This identity is considered so precious that it will be preserved, or rather, restored and perfected for all eternity. Your personal history, your relationships, and the moral choices you made in your single lifetime are of ultimate importance because they define who you are forever. This view fosters a strong sense of individual responsibility and the sanctity of the one life given to you. The self is not a temporary vessel, but an eternal and unique masterpiece. These two paths also imply very different models of cosmic justice. Rebirth operates on an impersonal, automatic system of justice through the law of karma. Justice is not delivered by a divine judge at a single moment in time. It unfolds naturally and gradually over countless lifetimes. If you suffer in this life, it may be the consequence of actions in a past life. If you prosper, it may be the reward for past virtues. This creates a vast cyclical timeline where all accounts are eventually settled through personal experience. Justice is an inherent mechanism of the universe itself, a slow, grinding process of moral cause and effect that ensures balance over eons. Resurrection, however, conceives of justice as a final, definitive, and personal event. Justice is administered by God on a specific day of judgment. It is not an unfolding process but a final verdict. Your single life is the complete trial, and the judgment is the sentence that determines your eternal fate. This framework provides a powerful answer to the problem of unpunished evil and unrewarded good within a single lifetime. It promises that a final perfect accounting will occur, where God, as a personal and righteous judge, will set all things right. Justice is not a natural law, but a divine act that brings history to its ultimate moral conclusion. When we ask if these two profound ideas, rebirth and resurrection, can fit together, we find that at their core, they are built on fundamentally different assumptions about reality. Rebirth is rooted in a cyclical view of time, where the universe and life within it move in endless circles of creation, decay and renewal. It sees the individual as a temporary part of a much larger ongoing cosmic process. Resurrection, by contrast, is based on a linear view of time, a story with a clear beginning, a purposeful middle, and a definitive final end. It champions the ultimate worth and permanence of the unique individual. Trying to merge them directly can feel like trying to draw a square circle. Their foundational geometries are different, yet perhaps they are not entirely irreconcilable if we see them as different metaphors pointing toward a similar, deeply human hope. Could it be that they are two different cultural languages used to describe a mystery that is beyond human comprehension? Some modern spiritual thinkers have tried to bridge the gap, suggesting, for example, that the soul might evolve through different experiences, kind of like rebirth, before a final unifying awakening, which is more like resurrection. While these syntheses are not typically part of traditional doctrine, they show a persistent human desire to find common ground and to believe that different paths might lead up the same mountain, even if the view from each path looks very different along the way. Ultimately, what both rebirth and resurrection reveal is a powerful and universal human refusal to accept that our existence is meaningless, and that death is the final word. They are grand imaginative responses to our innate desire for justice, meaning, and continuation. The belief in rebirth speaks to our sense of an ongoing journey, of having more chances to learn and grow, and of being intrinsically connected to the great web of all life. It is a hope for evolution and eventual perfection through a long winding process of experience. It addresses the desire for a fair system where every action has an appropriate and balancing reaction, no matter how long it takes. The belief in resurrection speaks to our deep attachment to our own identity, to our bodies, and to our loved ones. It is a hope that we, as the specific individuals we are, will not be lost, and that the relationships we cherish will not be erased forever. It expresses a profound longing for a final divine intervention that will right all wrongs, wipe away every tear, and affirm the ultimate value of our brief, fragile lives. Whether through an endless cycle of becoming or a single glorious awakening at the end of time, both beliefs offer humanity a powerful and enduring hope that the story of who we are does not simply end when our hearts stop beating.